Hey everybody, it's
Box.
welcome back to the Scout Only MvM Challenge, where we are trying to learn Damage Scout. The rules are Scout Only, can't leave unless two more players have left, cannot queue for missions in progress, no resistances, no canteens, no refunding, and no talking with teammates. This week on Gear Grinder, wanted to be a very damage focused scout. We're running no milk. We're running only the soda popper. We're running the atomizer too. More on that in a bit. But we wanted to be a very selfish scout, not giving milk to teammates. Wanted to do as much damage as I possibly could, and I open up this mission with a death. But now let's go to the question of the day. Last week I had asked, what's your favorite TF2 map? And Pete the Pete, from a previous video, he's been commenting, said the ones he's looking forward most to play when he has a PC is Upward. Of course, I should have expected Upward would be the most talked about map, but other people talked about some other maps too. Like one guy mentioned Lakeside. That's a fantastic map. Pier, that's a pretty old one too, honestly. You know, it's been in development, you know, it's not super old in the main game, but that's a great map too. Badwater, of course, but for me, Gravel Pit will always hold a special place in my heart. This week's question is, what's your favorite pro kill streak combo? Yeah, some guy commented on one of the kits that another player got in 2 cities last week, and I thought that was a good question too. So yeah, what's your favorite? Mine, probably Singularity and Mandarin. Singularity is a bit of a low-key effect until you get to 10 kills, but it's really cool once it does. And Mandarin, I love orange. It's my favorite color. But yeah, answer that. I'll pick a comment next week. We're starting off in Mannslaughter here, and unlike my last Gear Grinder video, which was over a year ago, every mission for this tour had either a very experienced player or a halfway experienced player, fairly competent. So I didn't get the high damage numbers I was hoping or anticipating that I'd get this tour, but it still went well. My performance is still growing. You know, I'm still improving on this Damage Scout playstyle, so there's that. And also on the bright side, the mission went so well that I was able to include a lot of the mobbing that I was not able to include last time. Gear Grinder has quite a bit of mobbing to offer, quite a bit of pretty stout support bots to deal with, pyro, soldiers, fist of steel heavies, what have you. And yeah, I was able to show that. There was a lot less cutting and stuff I had to do for this tour, so that's cool too. But we come back from our last week's tour, where there were no pyros practically, to pyros every mission again. That's right, they've come out of hibernation and they are in full force. But one of the pyros here was a 1000 tour player on Gear Grinder, and he shunned the gas like a true Chad. He just wanted to play pyro, or he thought it was good. Played it the whole mission here on Mannslaughter, and I assume he just wanted to help deal with tanks or something. Pyro, not a fantastic class in a vacuum, but you know, you can pass missions with anything. But the other pyro has not yet learned the errors of his ways, and he ran the gas. We will keep him in our prayers. Hopefully he can be redeemed one day after 1,000 tours of his own, or maybe he'll just run gas for 1,000 tours, or maybe he probably, the most likely thing, he won't run 1,000 tours and he will go away and he will be replaced by a new gas pyro. So there's that. Got a strange Criticola for this account too. Like I said last episode, I named it the Crit Canteen. It is my personal Crit Canteen. And I was curious to see how much I'd actually drink it in a single tour. A single mission too, but you can only see that for one mission. But I was surprised how much it leveled up just in one tour. I think I got up to 100 or so consumptions of the Criticola. I just didn't think it'd be that frequent, because I don't get cooldown upgrades for it until pretty late into the missions. And the cooldown for it's like 15 seconds or something by default, so you don't get to spam it until very late. So it surprised me how much I was able to drink it and get away with using it. And I like this weapon a lot. It's pretty fantastic. The downside of it, the bidding mark for death, even after your mini crits have expired, is not that troublesome for me, because I'm already playing to not get hit as much as I can. And when I do get hit, I don't think the damage breakpoints really come into consideration all that frequently. And there were times that the milk could have been helpful, especially with waves like this that we're on, where giant heavies are involved, and you know there's no deflector bullets that can save you, or health on kill is going to be hard to come by. But overall, I think the damage is just usually more helpful. People tend to overestimate Scout's supportive role in MvM. Like, you know, people are, the first thing you're going to learn in MvM if you play Scout is to run Mad Milk, run Fan of War, milk giants, and mark them. And you know, it's just extremely overstated. The more I play Scout, the more I'm learning to play this damage play style. And for what it's worth, damage is support too. Like, if you're killing giants and you're killing little bots, you are eliminating damage that could be done to teammates, albeit in a more roundabout way, or it's more impactful, definitely. But yeah, on this tour I was thinking Critical would be, this tour in particular would be a great one to run Critical exclusively, because the meta for Gear Grinder, you know, like I said before, there is a meta for Gear Grinder, just like Two Cities, although it is more open to interpretation. But it tends to be heavy stacking and a medic picker, because there are you know, lots of giants. Heavies deal lots of single target damage. Heavy's able to deal with the smaller bots, so is Engineer, and you can have Scout do tank busting when the tanks roll out. So people tend to pick Heavy, and Heavy is very good at surviving on his own. He's able to get health on kill, very good for Heavy. He's able to get deflector bullets for the demos, soldiers, what have you. He's able to get projectile penetration to get more health on kill procs. So yeah, Heavy's able to survive on his own. And usually people are buying resistances too, but even if you weren't buying resistances, you still have a surprising amount of survivability on a class that doesn't have a lot of options to evade damage, just because you're able to put out so much damage and you're able to heal, and you're able to mitigate a lot of damage with stuff like deflector bullets. And furthermore, there are usually people that pick medic in expert and mecha in these tours that don't really need a medic. That will definitely assist in some of the damage mitigation that I lose out on if I'm playing this style of Scout, you know, without milk. I also ran the Atomizer early missions for this whole tour. It was recommended to me at the same time the Backscatter was recommended to me on Discord, but I just didn't see quite the use case for it in Two Cities. I mean, there is a use case for it, but I just have so much money to start off with. There's usually $100 or $200 left that I can just go ahead and put into jump height. But on Gear Grinder here, you get $400 to start off on every mission, which is exactly enough for one damage related upgrade. I tend to pick mag size, because while that does not increase your DPS in the same way, you know, just a damage upgrade does, I like, you know, I tend to miss a lot, so I like to have the extra shot. And it does increase your DPS, of course, just in a different way. But yeah, we are on the last wave here of Mannslaughter, going pretty smoothly, pretty quickly. Just a bunch of tanks and giant soldiers to deal with. These giant soldiers are excellent candidates for the Criticola to assist in damage on, as well as the Soda Popper, able to dodge a lot of the damage whenever I build the height meter. And when I have a bunch of damage put into the Soda Popper, I'm able to fill that height meter extremely quickly, even more so with the Criticola. So there's a lot of synergy in this loadout. I also I was watching another MvM video from another channel. You know, most people in TF2 run auto reload. I don't do that because I just like to hit the reload key. But it's a bit of a negative thing for Scout in particular, because whenever you reload, you're going to get rid of all the bullets that were left in the mag or in the tube, whatever you want to call it. You get rid of the ammo that you didn't use. You know, you don't keep it. You do with a shortstop, but you do not with a soda popper, force of nature, weapons like that. So it's better for me to run manual reload because I'm able to choose whenever I dispose of those bullets, because if ammo capacity is one of the later upgrades I get, I focus on damage of course first, and you can run out of ammo extremely quickly with the soda popper, especially if you're buying the clip size upgrades. So yeah, you start off with 32 and you end up with 6 bullets in your clip, and yeah, you're gonna be getting rid of a lot of bullets, especially if you're shooting 1, 2, 3 of them, and then you get rid of the other 3. You're reloading all 6. It's just a bit better for you to choose when you reload, and the reload's so quick. It's not like you're missing out on much DPS if you walk up to a giant with, say, 3 bullets in your soda popper, and then you dump all 3 into them, and then you reload. You're not missing out on DPS, but you are saving ammo, and you're saving yourself the necessity of rotating back to a dispenser wherever it may be. Good engineers will put it near you, of course, but a lot of players will move it around some, or it'll get destroyed. So, and then you'll have to hunt for ammo packs in that case. So it's good. Just a little thing, a very, very little thing. Plus, I also think it's really ugly every time you shoot. Like, unless you're holding down the trigger, you're going to, tap fire. Stuff like the soda popper, and he just tries to break open the shotgun and put in new bullets every time. It just looks really ugly and jarring to me, so yeah. On every class I run manual reload. I don't want the robots to take my job, but we're fighting robots right here. We are killing them, and you want them to take my money? Or you want them to take my reload away from me? Hell no! Well, we are about finished here on Wave 5. We just have a couple tanks to deal with and some demo nights. I, of course, will be on the tanks. Always surprised by how much damage I can do to tanks. I'm usually out damaging pyros or demos or hell, even soldiers on the tank. Just, I'm able to stay on top of it and lay into it with my mini crits. Do a lot of damage. Nobody getting anything cool drop-wise there. Getting a hat, that's pretty neat. I ended up crafting it into a traffic cone for the pyro. Very sad. I had 2 of those tin can, whatever the heck it's called. I had 2 of those, but here we are in Mission 2, Cataclysm on Coal Town. We had another seasoned player also playing pyro. This guy was not as seasoned as the 1000 tour player. He had about 52 tours, I believe. But he elected to run gas, and I've hated on gas a lot in this series without really explaining why. That it's a weapon that I don't personally jive with, as well as a large portion of the MvM community also hating gas and hating on players that run gas. At least the more toxic examples of it. Those are the ones that tend to surface and tend to stick with people a lot. Most people don't say anything if you run gas, but the ones that do are very, very vocal about it. And I've never explained why. I've always just figured that the discourse has been out here for years. The Jungle Inferno update came out whenever the heck it did. And it's been in MvM just about as long as it hasn't. So, but I figured I'd put my 2 cents in there. There might be new MvM players watching these videos, or maybe you just like to talk about it. Some people just like to yap. Me being one of them. But the gas blaster, it has 2 upgrades. It has a cooldown upgrade and of course an explode on ignite upgrade, dealing 400 AoE damage to everybody who walks through its cloud of stink. It lingers there for a moment, so bots can get doused in gas for quite a bit longer than the instant you throw it. And it sucks to play with because it teaches new players pretty bad habits. First of all, it locks them on pyro, and I've said before that pyro is you can pass MvM waves with any class, but pyro is definitely one of the worst classes you can pick. Any role that he can fulfill, another class fulfills better. There are classes that destroy tanks better. A lot of people associate pyro with tank destruction. There are classes that deal with small bots better, you know, engineer, heavy, stuff like that. There are classes that do single target damage better. Heavy again, sniper, soldier. And most of its alternatives are either harder to play, you know, immediately, or they're not as fun to these pyro players. And even in his best use case, there are classes that do medic picking better. You know, sniper is going to be better at picking medic. Demo man, of course, is famously good at picking medics. Even soldiers, you know, they get damage upgrades, are able to at least blast the medics away if they don't kill them. Scout's pretty good at killing medics, one by one at least. So he's not better than the gas passer, but you know, it's just putting that point out there that there are classes that are better at picking medic, and anything that pyro does, other classes can do better. So players will get reinforced in this behavior because the gas passer just does so much damage. They will get huge damage numbers, and they will pass missions, and they'll just kind of be stuck to that playstyle. They'll play other classes perhaps, but they, you know, won't do as well with them. They probably just enjoy all of the damage and all of the destruction they cause with the gas. This is a problem too, because a lot of the players that do pick gas, pick pyro, and throw the gas, they'll tend to throw it just willy-nilly. They'll die a lot, and their gameplay will never improve beyond that. You know, that'll just be their gameplay loop every time they play MvM. I imagine the people that do play pyro don't play MvM a lot. This player notwithstanding, the 52 Tor player, he obviously plays it a lot, but he still likes the gas. And MvM, it isn't hard. I don't think it's meant to be very hard, at least not the Valve missions. Maybe the potato.tf missions are meant to be a little bit harder. But I also don't think it's meant to be made so easy either. So when, you know, Valve just gives players an item that's able to delete a whole group of robots with just one item and zero skill involved in it, it's just not very fun to play with. But I also think that the MvM community is a bit hypocritical. Like, most of them, not most of them, but there is a large portion of them that are okay with strats like beggars crit spam, or Scottish resistance crit spam, or sniper god rock on mecha, and they're okay with that. But that stuff really only takes just a tiny bit more skill than pyro, than the gas passer. So I don't know why players tend to be okay with that, but they hate the gas. I think they just mostly hate it because new players can pick it up and there's zero learning curve to it. All you do is you fill up a meter and you throw the gas can. Whereas at least with stuff like beggars, you have to, you know, get in somewhat close. With sniper, you have to hit your shots. With Scottish resistance demo, you have to learn the waves to do it extremely effectively. But once you do all that, it's not any harder than throwing gas. So yeah, MvM community a little hypocritical. Me personally, I don't like playing with anything that removes my ability to contribute to the mission in any meaningful way. You know, I don't know why all the other stuff gets a pass from players at large. I mean, there's also a large portion of players who don't do that sort of thing, and they have fun making the missions more challenging for themselves, and they'll shun that kind of gameplay. But, you know, I think more people are just okay with that sort of thing, and it's just not fun. If I'm not able to, you know, shoot a bunch of robots, if I'm not able to shoot the giant for any significant amount of time, and they just get deleted by a bunch of crit stickies or a beggar's barrage, it's just not fun. These guys are hoarding all the fun, and I don't like that kind of stuff. So at least I'm logically consistent about it. Not that that's anything to, you know, brag about, I guess. I'm also a person who says you shouldn't play for Australians, and the MvM isn't gambling, really. And here I am playing for Australians, and yeah. But enough yap from a dumbass like me. I'm never going to blame anybody for playing like that, gas or beggar spam or anything like that. I'm never going to leave a lobby. The queue times are just too damn long for me to leave games and try to find a lobby that I agree with, because I have a very specific way that I like to enjoy the game. And all I can do is try and enjoy the game in the way that I do. And that's probably what you should do too. But there are also a fair share of players who will leave lobbies and look for one that they like. But typically those people are looking for the lobbies that will go the smoothest. So enough about that. Let's move on to the gameplay here. We're on wave 5 of 7 here on Desperation. Bunch of demo knights to fight with. These guys, just like any melee class, are fun to fight. You know, they don't pose much threat to me. I'm able to get in a lot of damage in on them. I don't think that their eyeliners actually crit. I don't know, I feel like I get hit by them and I don't hear the crit sound. It doesn't feel like it does 195 damage to me, but I could be just talking out my ass. But there are only 5 of them left. Getting killed by a Sydney sniper there as I went to go try and pay attention to him. The spy player doing a lot throughout the wave. I wasn't able to talk about the gameplay a lot this wave because I was busy filling your ear with diarrhea. But the spy player doing a lot. Spy is a fun class and he's really, really viable on expert. Probably more so than Two Cities. There are players that are able to find success in Two Cities with spy, but I think it's a little bit more straightforward on Gear Grinder and Steel Trap. Although I don't have a lot of Steel Trap experience, but the one tour, or the 2 tours I did play, you know, they featured spies, and they're able to do a lot. But wave 6 of 7 here, I said it guys, 6-7. Some giant deflector heavies and our medics marching in. I'm going to treat them like I do any other robot and shoot them while I'm mini critted with my crit canteen. Very fun weapon. It's super, super enjoyable. It's also pretty good to use on big waves of robots like these soldiers, if I can get away with it without getting spotted or aggroed by too many of them. If I do get spotted, I will die even quicker than a giant could kill me, because a giant can't shoot. You know, that was probably a group of 10 robots. A giant can't shoot 10 rockets at once and hit me with all of them. So, gotta be a little bit careful trying to engage with smaller bots or pick better bots that are easier for me to fight, like KGB heavies, like the demo knights there. Those ones are pretty safe for me to use the criticola with, but for the most part, going to use it against tanks and giants. Speaking of tanks, there are 6 of them this wave, and I will get my licks into all of them. First tank gets dealt with, second tank rolls out immediately afterwards. This wave getting a pretty steady flow of tanks. Also the snipers. I jump on top of the tanks, something I don't do enough. You know, you'll see me a lot in these videos just kind of standing in front of the tank, and I even got stabbed last video because I was standing in front of the tank as opposed to on top of it. But if it's at all safe and the bots aren't aggroing you, better to stand on top of the tank. You can avoid a lot of damage with it. You even see they're trying to pay attention to me there, but the tank's hitbox is a little bit large, and they aren't able to hit me with every single one of their bullets, but I still have to jump down from the tank from time to time. Get my licks into it. Getting killed here. The tank gets blown up after I respawn. I'm gonna pick up the money, even though it doesn't matter. I guess it gives me overheal. These bots trying to get the bomb into the hatch. We're gonna defend it here. And there's still a significant portion of the wave left. We're going to try and take out these snipers so our team can stay alive to defend the patch some more. Some heavies and huntsman snipers approaching the bomb site. But they don't stay long. We stabilize. We get back up front pretty quickly, but there is a Ubered scout that wants to take it. I don't know if our NG has the sentry on the bomb at this point. You know, it's something that a lot of players will neglect, so I gotta pay attention to that. But we finish off all the small bots, and now there is just 4 giant heavies and the tank. Which one do we kill, guys? Which one's first? It doesn't matter. The heavies are slow and the tank is slow. The team is able to collapse on top of them, and we check out everybody's drops. One guy completing his tour and getting a Carbonado minigun. Checking out my damage: 90,000 tank damage, 40,000 regular damage. pretty good. Pretty good. Now we find ourselves on Desperation on the map Decoy. This was actually the second queue I did, but it ends up failing very quickly. We don't have a medic picker at all. The whole team dies to these soldiers. Our engineer disconnects immediately for some reason, even though it was probably salvageable. But the pyro here trying to keep the bomb away from the pit. When we have a giant demo coming up, we have more Uber soldiers coming up. Nobody can kill them. We don't have a sniper. We don't have a demo. We don't have anything that can deal with them efficiently. And they are going to drop the bomb off into the pit after a little bit more struggle. But the mission dies soon after this. We have 3 people leaving, so I didn't want to wait around for 3 more backfills to come in, so I left that and then I queued the actual second mission. But here is the third mission, Desperation, with a real team. One of our players being AFK. He didn't pick a class the entirety of the wave. We almost passed it, but we just narrowly failed. Our engineer keeping his sentry on the ground there, which is not a bad spot most of the time, but because there are Ubered soldiers in the face of the sentry, it gets destroyed, and he has a little bit of trouble getting it back up. You hear it getting blown up there. So the engineer is going to try and build his sentry at spawn. I think he gets it to level 1, but there's just one too many things going on, and we end up failing this wave, but it's promising that the team was able to pass it. We do have a medic picker this go around in the form of a sniper. A sniper is probably the best form of a medic picker for this wave in particular, because the medics and the soldiers aren't that grouped up. They come out in a pretty steady flow. And we can wait for him to just headshot all the soldiers or the medics. But yeah, like I said, we failed. And we kick that player. We ready up again with 5 people. We're all pretty sure that we can pass it. And we do. Starting off this wave around about where we failed last time. We got rid of all the Uber soldiers. The bomb got pushed back pretty far, but it wasn't too bad. We have some pyros to deal with now, and then we just have 10 bonk scouts and 1 giant demo. The bonk scouts being the more threatening of the 2 bots, but we take care of them. The player that was AFK ended up rejoining our game because the kick system is broken and it does not ban players. But fortunately, this guy wasn't a troll or anything. I guess he was just AFK legitimately during queue or something, and then the queue popped and he just didn't pick a class, and he requeued and he got in our lobby. But he picks pyro and he throws gas and he kills all the bonk scouts. You know, we already had this conversation. I don't need to go over it again. But it is super unfun. But at least he can't do a lot of damage to giants with the gas. He can only kill small bots with the gas. Like I said, it does 400 damage, so he's not going to be doing that much stuff to giants. You see him throwing his gas there after the giant's dead. That's the kind of behavior I'm talking about, where they just throw their gas randomly. Bad players will. Good players can throw their gas at good times, and that's unfun too, but you know, these new players that pick the gas, they're just doing stuff. They're just hitting their buttons, mashing all their buttons. But we are nearing the end of wave 2 here. We got 3 giant scouts and pyros to deal with. I will shoot the scouts first, of course. All the pyros are now dead, and we just have some support scouts rolling in as we wait for the giant scouts. Giant scouts are also a great candidate for the for the Criticola. Getting baited here by an Uber. I thought he was going to stay on me, but he just gave me a little flash and I die. But he teleported me to spawn, which is something that I'm known to do. So this guy knows what's up. Getting some more damage here. If I do have a few clip size already, I will get damage first. But my very first upgrade is just going to be clip size, so I can have that margin of error. But this wave starting off with some Fist of Steel heavies. Again, a great candidate for the Criticola, because these guys, I have to get in in melee range for them to actually kill me and do the mini crit damage, and I can just kind of stay a little bit back. Mini crits don't have fall off, but due to the nature of a scatter gun, it is going to spread its bullets, so I won't get full damage staying a little bit back from them, but I'll also get more damage if they're mini crits as opposed to no mini crits and trying to get up close to them and dying anyway, because these guys would have killed me anyway if I were just standing in their face without a bunch of overheal. There is no melee resistance, of course, in MvM, and yeah, that's always going to be threatening for a scout. These snipers, they've killed me before with melee. You know, when you get up to them, they'll try and pull out their kukri and deal with you. And it can happen, they'll deal with you. Especially if you're bad like me and you just miss all your shots, and then they just hit you 2-3 times, killing you. Well, we are once again nearing the end of the wave. Everything going so smoothly this entire tour, minus the one mission where we failed. Have a giant crit soldier to deal with. He does not shoot very fast, and he dies swiftly. Last soldier blowing up. Wave 4, 2 tanks and 4 giant soldiers. And there's those hefty support bots I was talking about. Gear Grinder has huntsman snipers and pyros. The other tours do have pretty hefty support bots as well. You know, there are soldier support bots in 2 cities. I think, you know, Mecha Engine has some support bots similar to this, but they're just a bit more oppressive in Gear Grinder because they actually ramp up the bot difficulty. The bots use like the normal TF2 bot difficulty settings as to how good they are at the game, and the pyros are on expert, so they'll launch back projectiles and stuff at you, and they'll, you know, they're just a little bit better, a little bit more oppressive. But we're mid-wave or mid-mission now, so they're definitely less problematic than they would be early game, so we don't have any problem with them. We blow up the tank, we blow up the soldiers. Wave 5, we got 4 giant heavies, 4 giant medics, and just a few normal bots. There are also spies, which can annihilate the whole team because they spawn a lot of them at a time. Our soldier, they're using the airstrike. Airstrike is more of an ethical weapon than the beggars, even with crit canteens. But yeah, not a lot going on this wave. We're just gonna wait on the heavy medic combo for the most part. Our spy, who was our sniper, I believe, electing to refund and then put all of his money into backstabs. I'm going to try not to ruin his aggro, which you can do with Scout a lot, because Scout and Spy want to kind of sit in the same spots before action happens. So I gotta be careful not to get our Spy killed before the medic drops. It wouldn't cause any problems, but you know, it's just, you know, you want to be a polite player, or I want to be a polite player at least. Our whole team dies to spies, like I had mentioned, right before the last heavy drops, giving me an opportunity to get a ton of damage in, but of course I beef it and I just die. Our medic picking up the last bit of money there for me, because I teleported back in. Nice guys. These guys picking up money, cleaning up after their own kills, making my job as a damage scout a lot easier. I don't have to worry about the money as often. The chat there creating an evil version of me that wants people to not F4. I'm pretty sure an evil version of me would get you to F4, get you to ready up under the threat of violence. There is no version of me who does not want you to ready up more quickly. That was another reason too these missions went so smoothly. Everybody was readying up. I didn't mention it, but in Mannslaughter, you know, the mission was counting down as I was buying my upgrades a lot of times. So yeah, it's very fun when people ready up and you're able to just stay in the gameplay and get some action in very quickly. Some of the higher tour players will get mad at you for not readying up quickly. There's a whole tag on tacobot.tf for somebody who doesn't ready up. I think that's a little bit obsessive about it, but it's definitely better when people are readying up at least quickly. You don't have to instantly do it like I do it, but you know, once you buy your upgrades and you're at the front, hit that ready up key. Don't just stay taunting and stuff. There's plenty of time to taunt, you know, if you're readied up. But wave 6, bunch of infinite firing soldiers, giant soldiers. They are delicious to eat up with my Criticola. Criticola washing them down quite nicely. The last bunch of them dropping here. I'm going to pick the very back one and start to lay into them, but I'm going to get killed by a sniper here. I wanted to ignore the snipers because I just wanted to get my damage numbers higher. I didn't want to be supportive. I wanted to be selfish. This whole idea of this tour was to be selfish. But I do get plenty of damage in anyway, and we are on wave 7 here, going to finish off my jump height upgrades, ammo capacity. I don't have a lot to spend my money on, so I guess I'll get health on kill. Yeah, we'll get health on kill. And projectile penetration, of course, just very subtly increasing my damage. Wave 7, starting off with the first tank here. The last one does not show up until the end of the wave. And this whole wave I'd been acing this whole mission I'd been acing every wave, so I figured I'd try and do that for this last wave. I thought there would be an achievement associated with it because there is an achievement for acing an advanced mission, but apparently there's not an achievement for acing an expert mission, or maybe the achievement is bugged. I know a lot of the achievements are bugged in TF2. You'll do stuff, or you'll just get an achievement for something that you didn't do or haven't done enough of. But who knows? There might be an achievement, I just didn't get it. But we did end up acing this wave. But now there is just a bunch of giants to deal with for the most part. 12 giant scouts still have yet to come out. I'm going to pay attention to those if I can. But it's also easy to get distracted when you're trying to farm a ton of damage off these slower giants that have more health for me to kill. After this heavy dies, the scouts will come out. Oh, actually, there's one now. Let me go try and deal with him. He's running off. Somebody else already defended the bomb once. But I have to get in here and try and kill him. Right before he drops the bomb, I get off my kill onto him. But there are more incoming, so I'm going to stay back here and defend the hatch till my last breath. 1 scout down, 2 scouts down, 3 scouts down. Those 2 scouts going down. There are 4 left. I'm going to have to pay attention to them. I see one dropping there, so I'm going to initiate a pursuit. Getting a little bit of Uber here. Very nice. Killing that. There are only 2 more scouts left. And try as I might, I'm unable to kill them. Drinking my cola so I can get in some damage on them. Apparently the team had not done much damage to them. I'd also beef some shots. The scout drops off the bomb. And we fail the wave, but nobody's discouraged. They just all collectively agreed to pay more attention to the scouts. Not in chat or anything. I think it's just something they all knew that we lost to. But again, beginning the wave around the part where it fell apart. 2 more scouts left. The pyro catching him on fire quickly, using his flog to kill him, and now there are just 3 giant soldiers left. I'm going to try and get some damage in on this guy, but I am not following him into that little room. That would be certain death, especially with my limited overheal. Going to pick up the money here, keep the wave perfect. Going to try and find the soldiers to kill, but the team has already killed them, so there is only the tank remaining. And of course, since there are no support bots out besides the sentry buster, we all jump on the tank. And we kill it. And we're checking out everybody's drops here. Will I get it this week? Let's see. This guy getting a knife. And myself getting a sniper rifle. But I already have a sniper rifle from Steel Trap that is a lot cooler than the Carbonado. Checking out the damage. Halfway decent. But thanks everybody for watching. If you have watched. Thank you everybody for comments. Thank you for saying nice things. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed these videos. I hope you enjoy this style of commentary. A little bit more ranty than the other ones, but you know, maybe you like that. But appreciate you. Be sure to answer the question of the day. See you next week, guys. Bye.